Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and we all know that the state of Standard is pretty bad, and it appears to be getting even worse with the release of Core Set 21. Who saw that coming? Totally nobody. I didn't hear anybody saying that online. But, hey, Brawl is still a thing, so I thought, let's check that out. And it is not amazing, but it's like I'm used to Commander being absolutely crazy in power level with just bonkers cards. So non-Eternal Commander, okay, like I already knew what I was in for. Really, besides Liliana and Captive Audience, I don't think I've run into any other cards where I'm like, that is just disgustingly game-ending and basically impossible to play around. Even with some of the horribly broken stuff, because a lot of people are just playing 3-color best of, and so it's like, well, okay, I play a bomb, you play a bomb, I play something horrific, you play something horrific, cool, whatever. So this is the kind of high-powered Magic that I like. But then you go to Standard Constructed, and it's like hyper-consistent overpowered decks. Brawl, of course, with it being singleton, it's a lot more fun because your deck is going to play differently every time, with the exception of one deck. There's one that it just sits there and does the same thing, and the commander just does this stupid look through your deck loop, and it's just complete cancer. But other than that, it's been more enjoyable, more fun to play this format than Standard. So I'd recommend people check it out, especially since they made the Brawlers Guild Hall permanent. Permanently free, I should say, permanent and not costing anything. They were going to charge like 10,000 coins for it, or like 2,000 gems, and then they got some backlash. Imagine that. So I built this deck just because I thought Proliferate's pretty good. You could probably build a viable deck out of that. And I would say, yeah, this is far from like the tier 1 end-all, oh my gosh, power deck. But then again, I've probably played 30 games of Brawl with this and one other deck, and I've played against a different deck almost every time. So it's hard to say, yes, this is the deck that does it all. It really, you can't say that. There's too many different decks out there, and they play drastically different from each other. So this is just fun. And see, that's the big thing about Brawl, is if your deck just arbitrarily has like a 40 to 45% chance of winning, you have a disadvantage, they're playing a slightly better deck, you might still win just based on play skill, decisions, mulligan decisions, what to target when, holding off cards, just being a good player, or just draw luck. I mean, it's like you're still within the realm of being able to win. Now go take like Ixalan Vampire Tribal and try to put it up against literally anything in the Standard meta right now. You have probably a 5% chance of winning, and the 5% is them accidentally hitting forfeit or their internet disconnecting. Like, you're not going to win. So it's such a big power discrepancy. Right now, if you're not playing tier 1, you probably have no chance of winning, and that's very aggravating. So that's the state of Brawl right now, and that's why I think I'm going to upload a lot of Brawl content this week for sure. So we've got Kiora, because she's awesome. I mean, she just represents the whole deck, basically. She kind of counts as a ramp card because she can untap a land or something that generates even more mana. And then she's also draw, and untap and draw is pretty important to this deck. You'll see why. But really it's a counter deck, and also she benefits heavily from Proliferate because she only burns her loyalty 1 per turn, if at all. Then we got the Ozolith, because, I mean, it's just too funny. Come on. This card's overpowered as balls in Standard. It's like, if you play against an Ozolith counter deck, all you have to do is destroy every single creature that comes out before it can swing, or you lose. That's all. What a fair deck. So then we got Contentious Plan, Proliferate, draw a card. This is actually one of the weaker cards in the deck, believe it or not, but I needed to put some low cards in. So you can see I did. I mean, this is where 2 stops. I mean, come on. Then we got Frogify. I mean, it needed removal, and these are not the removal colors right here. You need white exiling and black kill. So I made up for it by turning their best card into a frog. And this actually overrides everything on a mutate creature. I just threw it on a mutate creature. I don't know how the hell it would work, what would go in what order. I still don't know what'll happen if they morph on top of it, and it seems neither does my opponent because they didn't even try. Usually it's last in is correct, but I don't know. Like, if it was on top, this is still an overriding aura. Who cares? It turns them into a 1/1. They ain't going to win the game with that. It's that simple. Same with Kasmina's Transmutation, which is literally the same card. I guess this actually turns it into a blue frog. This does not. It maintains its color and its subtype, so whatever. Nobody's playing Tribal right now. Who cares? I still think that looks like Thanos. That is definitely Thanos Frog, and he's definitely about to Thanos snap. I mean, look at that hand. Anyway, we got whatever the hell this is. Mystic Subdual. I love this. The tongue out. That is just fantastic. I don't even know what that is, but I love it. But yeah, it just gives it -2 attack and loses all abilities. That's actually pretty good. This would be the one I would cut if you wanted to, change this a little bit. It's one of the worst blue removal cards, but it's still 2. Wish we had Singing Bell Strike. That was a fun one. But then we got Barkhide Troll. I mean, you know, burn a counter, make him hexproof. That's cool. And then he starts with counters, so that's important. Then this one, it can get counters, or if you artificially drop counters on it, boom, you can tap for 3, and then that works perfectly with Kiora. So golden card. Then we got Pollenbright. You could put a counter on something or proliferate. Good options. Then we got Wildborn. This gets counters over time whenever anything drops in. Super power card from that set. This card is probably the second best card in that whole entire set. Then we got Merfolk Skydiver. You can pay 5 and Proliferate. I mean, it should cost 5. The thing about Proliferate is it's horribly powerful. It is unbelievable. So it should cost 5. People are like, what does it cost 5? You can't even get it going. Good, because if it costs 3, everybody would be playing it, it would be broken, and they have to ban something. I mean, it's called appropriately costing a hyper-powerful ability. But you do get a free counter with this, and it's in the air, and it can target itself. I mean, that's nice. Then we just got straight-up counter spell, okay? Then we got Flux Channeler. I love this. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Proliferate. You want to talk about a better card than Contentious Plan. This is recurring free triggers. And non-creature, I think there's like approaching 20 in here. I think it's like 15 to 20. It's quite high. And then we got one of the crazy power cards from blue, which you don't usually see. It's Nadir Kraken, 2, 3, 4, 2. And then whenever you draw a card, you can pay 1, which, you know, start of every turn. And then put a counter on this, so there's your Proliferate, and create a token. So you're making a giant creature, you're giving a Proliferate target while you're also flooding. So you go big, and then you go wide at the same time. And in blue, I mean, this card's crazy. Then we got Sinister Sabotage, gotta have that, come on. Water not, okay. Tap creature doesn't untap. You know, for 3, I feel like that's not that great, but, you know, blue doesn't have much pinned down. I mean, if you want Capture Sphere, you're going to have to pay 4. I feel like that's a little expensive. And let's scroll down here. We've got Evolution Sage. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, Proliferate. Okay, Evolution Sage and Flux Channeler are like the bomb in this deck. Now, when they enter the battlefield, they don't do anything, but you can just flip the order on these usually. So then we got Hydra's Growth. I mean, you want to talk about a counter deck. Are you kidding me? Usually they will blow away the creature this is on. I know that there's a lot less removal in Commander than there is in Standard, so you might get away with this. But yeah, this is just like a wait 3 turns and win kind of card. Pretty overpowered, and when you strap it on something that you can like grant hexproof to or that can't take damage or something, yeah, it's ridiculous. Not much of that in the deck, though. There's a couple tramplers, otherwise they're going to chump you and stuff. So it's not ideal for the deck, but as if I wouldn't put this in there. Are you kidding me? Then we got Jiang Yanggu and his cute little doggo assistant who somehow can planeswalk with him, I guess because he's an extension of his mana or his soul or something. He's not a real dog. I don't know, whatever. He's real to me, damn it. So each creature you control with a counter on it has tap for mana. So, I mean, that actually comes up once in a while with, like, a Hydra Crisis or something. Otherwise, I don't tend to tap something and not be able to attack or block with it just for 1 mana. And then his -1 is put a counter on target creature, and then Proliferate puts another counter on the creature and puts a loyalty counter back on him. Fantastic card. And then we've got Yorvo, Lord of Garenbrig. I don't love that he's triple green, but it's only 2-color deck, so whatever. He enters battlefield with 4 counters on him right off the bat, so there's your Proliferate. And then whenever another green creature specifically enters battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on him. Then if that creature's power is greater than Yorvo's, it won't be. Put a 1/1 counter on him. So it's just, you know, a little creature ETB. Kind of works with the other creature and draw cards. Then we got Gyre Engineer. I just like him because he taps for 2. You know, pretty cool card. Then we got Uro. I mean, he doesn't do anything in the deck specific. You can't loop him. He's just there because he's broken and overpowered. Then we got Jace's Projection. 4 cost 2/2. He gets a counter every single time you draw a card. Don't have to pay for it. Yeah, crazy. You're never going to use his other ability. I did have a Jace in here, but Jace is kind of weak. Except for this Jace, which is Spark Double. Hell yeah. Copy something in the deck. I love it. This card's actually in my other deck as well. And it is so funny. I cloned an Archon and they just couldn't swing at me. They didn't have the mana. Anyway, next we got Beast Whisper. So whenever you cast a creature, draw a card. Not when it enters the battlefield, but this isn't a token dump card, or token dump deck, so it doesn't matter. Then we got Vivian. Kind of cool. Distribute counters among 1 or 2 creatures. They gain trample. I always forget about the trample part. Good thing they have symbols. Then -3, fight something. So it's kind of like recurring removal, kind of. I mean, she gets down to 1 loyalty, but in a Proliferate deck, you might be able to pull it off. Then we got Frilled Mystic. I just like her because, you know, 3 damage flash in. Cool. You could, like, ambush something and kill it. Otherwise, counter a spell, and then you get a creature out of it. Doesn't have anything to do with Proliferate, but the deck needed more creatures and counter spells simultaneously. So hey, then we got Biogenic Ooze. I mean, obviously I'm going to put this in there. Creates an ooze. What is it? Every time you pay 4, and then at your end step you put a counter on each ooze you control. So it's like automatic almost Proliferate, and then it benefits from Proliferate. Then we got Iron Scale Hydra, the card that never should have been printed. If a creature would deal combat damage to it, prevent that damage, and put a 1/1 counter on it. Not take a counter off of it, which is how that mechanic has always worked. You put a counter on it. Wow. This is like slightly better than an indestructible god, except that a destroy spell will still destroy it. But, I mean, sure, they can go burn a spell to remove this. I don't care. I'd rather they blow this up than something I care about. This is just to be obnoxious in combat and to be a lightning rod for removal. Then we got, oh, by the way, yeah, with Proliferate, this thing gets nuts. Then we got Nissa. She puts 3 counters on a land, so then you can Proliferate that, which is pretty funny. And then her -8 is pretty threatening, you know. It could do some damage, that's for sure. And then the doubling of the force taps. I mean, she's just good. I feel like 5's a little high for what she does for this deck, but whatever. There's a little bit of ramp. Then we got the Great Henge, which obviously doesn't really cost 9. I mean, this isn't like the typical green beast giant creature kind of thing, but it still works. I mean, even if you got to pay like 5 for this or something because it's reduced by a little bit, well, it still works. But yeah, I mean, the whole gain 2 life repetitively, this deck needs life gain, it has next to none. And then whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on it and draw a card. You want to talk about a Proliferate effect, holy hell. And then we got Stonecoil Serpent because of course we do. Reach, Trample, Pro Multi, I can read. Then we got Steelbane Hydra. I love this thing. This is probably the #1 card that somebody, if they knew my deck, does not want to see dropped into play in Commander or Brawl or whatever the hell we're playing. Same thing, because he's just going to sit there and just 3-shot. He's going to get rid of every stupid enchantment, every stupid artifact, mostly enchantments, I'll be honest, but yeah, stupid little cavalcades and, you know, equipment, and you can get rid of a pacifism on your own creature. You can get rid of a creature that happens to also be an enchantment. I mean, this is insane. Speaking of that, you won't be able to destroy a god with it without the staff, that Black Shadow staff thing, which I don't think is in this deck. It could be. It's not a terrible idea, but it had nothing to do with Proliferate, and this I had to cut like 10 cards out of this. It was horrible building this deck. But feel free to put it in. Is it in here? No, it isn't. Yeah, it's a 1-drop. I might find a way to put it in here. It's just, what would I possibly cut? Nissa, maybe. I mean, the deck's kind of short on ramp. But we do have Voracious Hydra. There's one I won't be cutting. I'll tell you that right now. It has Trample, and it comes out with counters, and either fight something and remove it, or double the counters, and then you just keep proliferating from there, and then Hydra Crisis. I mean, duh. Do you think I'm not going to play this? Are you crazy? So, yeah, Flying Trample, gain life, draw cards, get counters, proliferate. Yeah, why not? And then we got a bunch of lands. So, the number of lands is actually 25 because you really got to get up there. Could I drop 1 island and put in the staff? Probably. In fact, I think I'm going to the Shadow Spear. I think it's a spear, not a staff. It just looks like a staff. That really doesn't look like a spear. Anyway, okay, so it's in here. I mean, you can drop Hexproof and Indestructible on opponent's creatures and then gain life. And, you know, it gets +1/+1, but it's not a true counter. It's nice to have, I guess, when the deck has, you know, such a glaring weakness of not being able to get rid of Indestructible God cards. But, yeah, that's the deck. It's just fun. You know, it's not amazing, but it wins. It probably wins slightly above 50% of the games I put it in. Nothing too impressive. I think if I wanted to really just rock people's decks, I would probably do white-red rush with just nothing but combat, ambush, haste, and like double strikers, and just go. And then probably just some absolute bomb, like flying lifelink angels or something in white, and then some just monstrously overpowered red creatures for a backup. I think white has a lot of exile removal too for the mid game, and you know, okay, a lot of it costs, you know, 2 or 3. You could work that in the middle of the game and just get stuff out of your way so you could swing, but the big thing is combat ambush, where they know, oh, he's swinging with a 2/2 again. What the hell? I have a 4/4. Yeah, but he got me the last 3 turns with a, you know, sure strike or something. I'm pretty sure if I block, I'm going to lose my creature, and then they let it through, and then you boost it anyway. So, I mean, it's one of those decks where it's a lose-lose scenario, and every time you swing, you can even bluff them to let something through, even if you don't have a boost, because they're just like, whatever, it's 2 damage. So, it's pretty rough. I'm thinking about putting that one together just as a laugh, but it would be like so not fun to play. Like this is a lot of weird stuff happening. You know, it's a low consistency, high variation deck. I just would be bored with a Boros deck. I think it would be repetitive and stupid, but it would get wins. So once in a while, you just need that. You just want to get wins quick. So I'll probably put it together, but I might not make a deck tech on it. But a super quick preview of my other deck I built. I'm going to make a video on it, but it's called Just Bad because it's just bad stuff. That's what it is. And yeah, it's 3-color Esper, as they call it, control. And there it is. It's just absolute cards from hell. It's really narrow, it's really slow, and you better get the land going. But once you get it going, there's just nothing they can do. They can't swing, everything gets blown up, it's terrible. Also, my life gain deck wasn't doing very well. It's a modified version of my Brawlmost deck, because it was almost good and it's for Brawl. And Flyboy, that needs some work. That's a very old one. I think it's actually historic too. So believe it or not, yeah, a white Heliod deck is not doing that good. I'm shocked. So I built these. But yeah, I'll make a deck tech on this. But for now, let's take a look at the counter deck in some gameplay. All right, let's see where this one goes. I actually don't know. I recorded this like 4 days ago. So of course I'm going to keep Flux Channeler on top. Are you kidding me? So, okay, Barkhide, that's a good turn too. It's a 3/3 for 2. I mean, hey, and it's only going to get bigger and it's hard to destroy. Too bad I don't have the card to go with it, the Hydra card. We get Kiora out. Good card to get. You know, she doesn't immediately do anything. I did free up 1 so that I can pay 1 mana and, you know, remove a counter from him. I believe that's how that works. And then we got a Gorging Vulture. That does something with graveyard packing. I think this is a graveyard stuffing deck and it tries to resurrect something. Oh, no, it's a Undergrowth deck. That's what it was, because, Iona, that's who their commander is. Now we got an Iron Scale. Now he's in trouble. I think he eventually hits it with, like, a kill spell, but, oh, there we go. There's more graveyard stuffing. Okay, he's just trying to get up with the massive count on Undergrowth and then just start dropping Undergrowth bombs, and he gets pretty far with it. So we got the Flux Channeler. Okay. I could drop in Nissa, I believe, and that counts as Proliferate, but I think it's when you cast, so she doesn't benefit from it, unfortunately. So there's Rhizome Lurker. Okay, now we got a Beast. Okay, we're talking Undergrowth on steroids here. But yeah, Undergrowth is good. I mean, that's the thing about Brawl. You wouldn't even dream about playing an Undergrowth deck right now in Standard, but you can get away with it in Brawl. And same with Proliferate. It's too slow, but for Brawl, it's a little bit slowed down. It's like higher power, but also slowed down just because of Singleton. That's why Singleton's awesome. So I did go with the gate on that one, or the henge, or whatever. I don't remember what these cards are called. There we go. Drop it in the Nissa too, and then turned it into a giant land. Iron Scale's getting bigger. The Proliferate's already getting completely out of control. The game's not quite as over as you might think, though. I think he ends up messing with me pretty good, if I recall. Also, there's like at least, I think, 7 minutes left of this gameplay. But remember, I am playing this at 200%. Okay, Binding of the Titans. Now we ain't playing right here. Okay. Oh, we milled the Lich. That's a shame. Okay, he's thinking. He's thinking. Oh, a Molder Hulk with 6 Undergrowth. There we go. There we go. All right. I don't know how it took him that long to figure out that he should do Fabled Passage. This guy was kind of slow playing, but I mean, you know, you tend to play Brawl a little bit slower because you have such unique cards and people build a lot of decks. So Gyre Engineer I don't really need. That's the problem. I would hate to get all my lands killed, so he's a nice backup plan. But there's Uro, so he just drew all the damn cards, and then he gets to drop in a land for free. The card's so overpowered. Then let's see. I think I'm just like, yeah, let's go. I don't want to lose anything, though. Can't afford to lose the land, so I just send the 8/8 that can't be destroyed. I think he lets... Oh, no, he doesn't let it through. That was another person. They had a very questionable let-through decision that ended up costing them the game. I've got so many counters on Kiora that I thought, well, let's untap him for defense, because if he swings with the 6/6, I don't want to lose any of those. You know, and that's the problem, is a board wipe is pretty devastating to this deck. Depends how you're playing it, but, you know, stuff out there with counters, okay. So I went kind of Planeswalker heavy a little bit. Oh, there's the Essence Capture. There we go. And then I drop another counter on Barkhide because I knew with the Proliferate would go to 7. So now he can block the 6/6 that he has out. Oh, there we go. With haste. You guys might want to consider an Undergrowth deck. They're not bad. I mean, it's not the control-a-thon that you see in Standard. You can get away with actually playing creatures and trying to win with them. You might actually have a creature stay and play for 5 turns. Unheard of, I know. So then we got the Wildborn, Wild Growth, whatever the hell his name is. He's pretty cool. And then I did alt Nissa just to drop in the forest. So I did every single forest in my deck, which it turns out was not that many. I think I got 4. Then I just swing out and I'm like, at this point, I don't care what I lose. I mean, this is just so like, damn, you know. But his deck just lost because it was slower than mine, although my deck had a really, really fast open. So now I'm sitting on additional lands. I could Hydra Crisis at any time. I could Stonecoil Serpent at any time. I've got the board state, and then I've got a counterspell. He almost can't win. If he would have board wiped on that turn, which that's pretty close, to be honest, that was a good game. See, Brawl people are more polite. But yeah, if he would have board wiped, I would have been in trouble. But I like that partial board wipe. He was really dropping bombs in there. That was pretty good. He almost got me on that one. I mean, I could have restarted. I had more lands, but he could have, well, 37-5. I guess maybe he could have brought it back. It depends. There's some good Undergrowth cards. I'm just surprised he got to 60 in Singleton with Undergrowth, but, you know, Resurrection cards, you know, just mill something giant, whatever, you can make it work. So, you know, that's just a representative game, I guess, kind of. That's when my deck works, you know, pretty max, pretty perfect. I dropped in a lot of cards like Ozolith that didn't really come up that much. I think I used it like once, but it's just nice to have. It's nice to have the presence and to dominate the board. And to have the counterspell options. There's quite a few counterspells that you can hold to just devastate something. You know, their best card, their commander, or a board wipe, you just stop it. So, yeah, I got the deck list in the description if you want to build this. I think my other deck is a little bit weaker than this, so if you want to burn some wild cards on a Brawl deck, this is the best one I've got. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.